First contact and misconceptions. The Vilaxian ship Stellar Horizon decelerated from hyperspace, its quantum engines pulsing with emerald light as it approached the third planet of an unremarkable yellow star. Grand Observer Terax stood on the command deck, his scaled skin shimmering under the ambient light as he studied the blue-green whirl through the main viewing portal. Preliminary assessment, he asked, six-fingered hands clasped behind his back. Science Director Mira glided her appendages across the holographic interface. Oxygen-nitrogen atmosphere. Significant water coverage. Detectable technology, but rudimentary. Early space exploration only. The dominant species appears carbon-based, Bictal. Another developing world. Terax noted without enthusiasm. Hardly worth an extended study. Add it to the catalog and prepare for departure. There's something unusual, Mira added, her voice dropping to a lower resonance that indicated curiosity. Their communication networks are extensive and chaotic. They're broadcasting vast amounts of information openly. Art, science, conflict, cooperation, all intermingled without apparent security protocols. Inefficient, Terax remarked. Yes, but fascinating. They call themselves humans, and this planet Earth. The Vilaxian Collective had mapped 32 galactic sectors, cataloging thousands of worlds and hundreds of sentient species. Protocol dictated that pre-FTL civilizations should be observed but not contacted. Humans weren't the first primitive species they'd studied, nor the most interesting at first glance. Standard observation protocol, Terax decided. Cloak the vessel and establish monitoring stations. 10 planetary rotations should be sufficient. The Stellar Horizon deployed its stealth field and entered Earth's atmosphere, invisible to the primitive detection systems the humans employed. Observation drones no larger than insects were dispatched to population centers across the planet. Within hours, the ship's central chamber transformed into a panorama of human activity. Cities bustling with vehicles, families in dwellings, workers in facilities, children in learning centers. They're remarkably similar physically despite varied pigmentation, noted Medical Officer Saren, his elongated pupils dilating as he studied the biological data. But their social structures are bewilderingly complex and inefficient, added engineering specialist Forn. Look at their energy systems, burning fossil fuels when even rudimentary fusion would be more effective. Their technological development is chaotic, advancing rapidly in some areas while stagnating in others. Terax watched a human settlement where structures clustered near large bodies of water. What's happening there? He asked, noting unusual activity. Mira enlarged the image. Their atmospheric prediction systems have detected an incoming storm, what they call a hurricane. The settlement is evacuating. The Vilaxians observed as humans loaded possessions into vehicles, securing dwellings with primitive barriers. What caught Terax's attention wasn't the technology but the behavior. Humans helping other humans who weren't part of their immediate family units, sharing resources, coordinating without apparent hierarchical command. Their social cooperation doesn't follow efficient patterns, he noted. Look there, that human is delaying its evacuation to assist unrelated offspring. Evolutionary disadvantage, Vorn suggested, prioritizing non-kin over self-preservation. As the storm struck, the Vilaxians continued their observation. The hurricane's power was considerable, destroying structures and flooding the settlement. Yet the human response was immediate. They organized search parties, distributed resources, created temporary shelters. Individuals risked personal safety to rescue others, including non-human animals that appeared to serve no practical purpose. This behavior pattern repeats across their historical records, Mira reported, analyzing the data streams. They call it compassion or altruism, and their cultural systems place high value on it, despite its apparent evolutionary cost. Terax found himself unexpectedly intrigued. Perhaps extended observation is warranted after all. The Vilaxians continued monitoring for 7 more planetary rotations, cataloging human behavior. Grand Observer, Vorn interrupted. If the core breaches an atmosphere, the resulting antimatter cascade will destroy a significant portion of this continent. Faced with either breaking protocol or risking millions of human lives, Tirax made his decision. Find an isolated location. Minimal contact only. The stellar horizon descended rapidly, its stealth field flickering as power diverted to containment systems. They landed in a forested area several kilometers from the nearest human settlement. Containment holding at 37%, Vorn reported. Repairs require external access. Estimated time, 3 planetary rotations. They've detected us, Mira announced. Monitoring human communications, their primitive tracking systems registered our descent. Several ground vehicles are approaching our position. Tirax faced an unprecedented situation. The collective had clear protocols for first contact scenarios, but they presumed technological parity. Revealing advanced technology to a primitive species violated fundamental principles. Maintain position, he ordered. Prepare diplomat protocols, but priority remains repair and departure with minimal interference. The Vilaxians watched their external monitors as human vehicles stopped at the forest perimeter. A small group approached cautiously on foot, some wearing what appeared to be authority uniforms, others in civilian attire. Their approach formation suggests defensive caution but not hostile intent, noted Security Officer Krell. No significant weaponry detected. Open external communication, Tirax decided. The ship's external panels shifted, creating an opening. Tirax stepped forward, his scaled form catching the sunlight in emerald refractions. The human stopped, expressions registering what the Vilaxians recognized as shock. A moment of silence hung between the two species. Then, unexpectedly, one human stepped forward, a female with dark skin and silver-streaked hair. "Hello," she said simply. "I'm Dr. Maya Chen. Are you in need of assistance?" The translation systems processed her words, but the content surprised Tirax more than the language. Not fear, not aggression, but an offer of help to a completely unknown entity. "We have experienced a technical difficulty," Tirax responded carefully. "The ship's antimatter containment system is degrading. We require 3 of your days to complete repairs." The human named Maya nodded, showing no sign of panic at the mention of antimatter technology far beyond their understanding. "Is there a danger to the surrounding area?" "Yes," Tirax admitted, "if containment fails completely." Maya turned to confer with the other humans briefly before facing Tirax again. "We'll establish a security perimeter and evacuate nearby communities as a precaution. Do you need any materials or assistance with repairs?" Tirax was momentarily speechless. This primitive species, upon first contact with an advanced civilization, was offering help rather than reacting with fear or attempting to seize technology. It contradicted every predictive model of primitive species behavior in the collective's extensive database. "Your offer is unexpected," Tirax finally replied. "But we have sufficient resources." "I understand," Maya said, "but the offer stands. We'll maintain distance unless you request otherwise." As the humans withdrew to establish their perimeter, Tirax returned to the ship, his mind racing with implications. "Their response defies standard behavioral models," he told his crew. "This requires further analysis." "They didn't attempt to seize our technology," Krell noted with surprise, "even knowing its capabilities. Perhaps they don't fully comprehend it," Vorn suggested. "No," Mira interjected, reviewing the monitoring data. "Their scientist, this Maya, understood enough to recognize the danger. Yet she prioritized safety over acquisition." As repairs progressed, the Vilaxians continued observing the human response. The local authorities had indeed established a security perimeter, but made no attempt to penetrate the ship's defenses. Periodically, Maya would approach the perimeter and simply ask if assistance was needed. On the second day, an unexpected complication arose. "The quantum stabilizer requires recalibration," Vorn reported. "We have the equipment but lack the specific crystalline resonator needed. We could manufacture one, but that would extend our timeline significantly. Unacceptable, Terax responded. Each additional day increases the risk of broader contact. Mira looked up from her monitoring station. Grand Observer, the humans are using a similar crystalline structure in their primitive quantum computing experiments. It's rudimentary, but the base material could be adapted. Contact is already established, Krell noted. Limited technological exchange may be justified given the circumstances. After careful consideration, Terax approached the perimeter where Maya waited patiently. We require a specific material, he explained, displaying a holographic model of the crystalline structure. Our scans indicate your research facilities possess something similar. Maya studied the rotating model intently. Silicon carbide quantum dots, she identified immediately. We're using them in experimental computing arrays. I can have samples here within hours. Terax was once again taken aback by her understanding. Your species has progressed further in quantum mechanics than our surveys indicated. Maya smiled slightly. We're full of surprises. True to her word, Maya returned 6 hours later with several containers of the crystalline material. Will this be sufficient? She asked. Yes, Terax confirmed after scanning the samples. This will accelerate our repairs significantly. May I ask a question? Maya ventured. Terax hesitated but nodded. You've been observing us, haven't you? Before your ship malfunctioned. The perception startled Terax. How did you determine this? Logic, Maya replied simply. Your technology is clearly advanced enough for stealth. You referred to surveys and behavioral models, and you speak our language too perfectly for this to be first contact. Your assessment is correct, Terax admitted. We've been observing your species for 10 rotations. Your world is one of many we catalog. And what have you concluded about us? Maya asked, her expression unreadable to Vilaxian social recognition algorithms. Terax considered his response carefully. Your species is puzzling. Your technological development is inefficient, yet surprisingly effective. Your social structures prioritize values that appear counterproductive to evolutionary advantage. You are simultaneously violent and compassionate, chaotic and coordinated. Maya laughed softly. That's probably the most accurate assessment of humanity I've ever heard. Alliance and revelation. By the third day, repairs to the stellar horizon were nearly complete. Vorn had successfully integrated the human-provided crystals into the antimatter containment system, and stability had returned to acceptable levels. Terax found himself experiencing an unfamiliar sensation, reluctance to depart. The humans had proven far more intriguing than initial assessments suggested. As final diagnostics ran, Mira approached Terax on the command deck. Grand Observer, our long-range sensors have detected something concerning. Explain, Terax commanded. A Nexalid scout vessel has entered this solar system. It appears to be conducting standard resource surveys. Terax's scales darkened with concern. The Nexalids were a highly aggressive species that the Vilaxian collective had encountered in distant sectors. Resource harvesters with no regard for inhabited worlds. If they detected Earth's mineral wealth, the consequences would be catastrophic for the humans. They haven't detected us yet, Mira continued. Our stealth systems are still operational. How long until they complete their survey? Terax asked. Approximately 6 planetary rotations. Will they detect human civilization? Eventually, yes, but their primary interest will be the planet's resources, not its inhabitants. Terax faced a complex ethical dilemma. Vilaxian protocol prohibited interference with pre-FTL civilizations, yet allowing the Nexalids to discover Earth would likely result in the humans' extinction. Despite their primitive technology, these beings had demonstrated qualities that warranted protection. Prepare for departure, Terax decided. We will intercept the Nexalid vessel beyond this system's heliopause. Grand Observer, Krell interjected. Our antimatter reserves are at 38% capacity, sufficient for departure but not for both interception and return to collective space. Then we must obtain additional resources, Tirax stated. From the humans, Vorn asked incredulously. Their technology is incompatible with our systems. Perhaps not entirely, Mira suggested. They've demonstrated unexpected advancement in certain areas. Tirax made his decision. Contact Dr. Maya Chen. Limited disclosure is authorized. When Maya arrived at the ship, Tirax explained the situation with careful omissions regarding the full extent of Nexolid capabilities. Another species has entered your solar system, he explained. They are resource harvesters with no regard for inhabited worlds. My ship can intercept them, but we require additional power sources. Maya processed this information with remarkable composure. What specifically do you need? Fissile materials, Tirax replied. Uranium or plutonium would be adequate. Those are heavily controlled substances on our world, Maya said cautiously. I would need to involve government authorities. That would violate our contact protocols, Tirax objected. With respect, Maya countered. Those protocols were violated the moment your ship landed. If this threat is as serious as you suggest, we deserve the opportunity to assist in our own defense. After lengthy deliberation with his crew, Tirax agreed to a controlled meeting with human authorities. Within 12 hours, Maya returned with a small delegation of scientific and military officials. To the Vilaxians' surprise, the humans brought not only the requested fissile materials, but also a proposal. We understand your ship can intercept this threat, said a military official named General Rodriguez, but we request to send 2 of our scientists with you as observers. Whatever the outcome, we need to understand what we're facing. Absolutely not, Krell responded immediately. Your physiology is incompatible with our life support systems. We've analyzed your external atmospheric composition, Maya countered. We can bring suitable equipment for a short mission. Your presence would serve no practical purpose, Tirax argued. Your technology cannot assist us. Perhaps not, Maya acknowledged, but we may offer perspectives you haven't considered. If these Nexolids threaten our world, we deserve to know our enemy. Something in her reasoning resonated with Tirax's earlier observations about human problem-solving approaches. Against all Vilaxian protocol and the objections of his security officer, he agreed to take Maya and 1 other scientist aboard. As the stellar horizon departed Earth's atmosphere, Maya and her colleague Dr. Takashi Yamamoto adapted remarkably well to the alien environment. They observed Vilaxian technology with obvious fascination, but respected boundaries established by the crew. Your ship harnesses quantum entanglement for propulsion, Maya noted, studying the engine schematics Mira had been authorized to share. We've theorized such systems, but haven't developed the material science to implement them. Yet you recognize the principle immediately, Mira observed. Your species' theoretical understanding often exceeds your practical capabilities. Necessity is the mother of invention, Takashi replied. We imagine solutions long before we can build them. The stellar horizon intercepted the Nexolid scout vessel near the orbit of Neptune. The harvester ship was massive, nearly 3 times the size of the Vilaxian vessel. They detected us, Krell reported. Weapons systems activating. Open communication channels, Tirax ordered. The main viewing portal illuminated with the image of a Nexolid commander, a hulking insectoid being with compound eyes and chitinous armor. Vilaxian vessel, the commander chittered through the translation system. You are outside your territory. Explain your presence. This system falls under Vilaxian observation protocols, Tirax responded diplomatically. We request you withdraw. The Nexolid commander's mandibles clicked in what the Vilaxians recognized as amusement. We recognize no such claim. Our scans indicate abundant resources on the 3rd planet. We will harvest. The 3rd planet hosts a developing sentient species, Tirax countered. Collective treaties prohibit. We are not signatories to your treaties. The Nexolid interrupted. Depart or be destroyed. The communication terminated abruptly. They're charging weapons, Krell announced. Attack trajectory calculated. Evasive maneuvers, Tirax ordered. Prepare defensive systems. The stellar horizon banked sharply as energy pulses from the Nexolid vessel sliced through space where they had been moments before. The Vilaxian ship was more maneuverable, but the Nexolid vessel's weapon systems were vastly superior. Direct hit to our starboard shield, Vorn reported as the ship shuddered. Shield integrity at 62%. Return fire, Tirax commanded. The battle continued for several minutes, with the stellar horizon gradually losing ground against the superior firepower of the Nexolid vessel. Shield integrity at 31%. Vorn updated. We cannot sustain this exchange. Maya and Takashi had been observing silently from the command deck's periphery. Now Maya stepped forward. Grand Observer, she said urgently, you mentioned the Nexolids, our resource harvesters. What specifically do they value? Primarily heavy metals and radioactive elements, Tirax replied while monitoring the tactical display. Then we have a potential solution, Maya suggested. The fissile materials we provided, if detonated near their vessel, would the radiation disrupt their systems? Possibly, Mira acknowledged. But we have no delivery mechanism that would penetrate their shields. What about Neptune's rings? Takashi proposed. If we could lure them into the debris field and detonate the materials there, the particles would amplify the radiation dispersal. The Vilaxians exchanged glances. It was an unexpectedly sophisticated tactical suggestion from a supposedly primitive species. Their shields would still deflect the radiation, Krell objected. Not if you modulate your weapons to match their shield frequency, Maya countered. You could create a momentary window in their defenses. How could you possibly know about shield modulation? Vorn demanded. We don't, Maya admitted. But it's a logical vulnerability in any energy-based defense system. Even our primitive electromagnetic shielding has frequency vulnerabilities. Tirax made a quick decision. Implement their strategy. Plot course for Neptune's ring system. The stellar horizon banked sharply, accelerating toward the ice giant's distinctive rings with the Nexolid vessel in pursuit. Vorn and Takashi worked rapidly to modify one of the ship's drone pods to carry the fissile material, while Mira and Maya calculated the precise detonation point. Entering ring perimeter, Krell announced. Nexolid vessel still in pursuit. Deploy the package, Tirax ordered. The modified drone shot from the stellar horizon, weaving through the icy particles of Neptune's rings before positioning itself at the calculated coordinates. Nexolid approaching optimal position, Mira reported. Preparing shield frequency analysis. Now, Tirax commanded. The stellar horizon fired a precisely calibrated energy beam at the Nexolid shields as the drone detonated. The resulting nuclear explosion, amplified by the surrounding ring particles, created a devastating electromagnetic pulse that surged through the momentary gap in the Nexolid's defenses. The massive harvester ship listed dramatically as its systems failed, secondary explosions blooming across its hull. Direct hit, Krell confirmed. Their primary systems are offline. Open communication channels, Tirax ordered. The Nexolid commander appeared again, his chamber now dimly lit by emergency lighting. This system is protected, Tirax stated firmly. Withdraw and inform your fleet. Any future incursion will be met with similar response. The Nexolid commander chittered angrily, but nodded before terminating the connection. The damaged harvester vessel slowly turned away, limping back toward the outer system. They're retreating, Krell confirmed. Victory is ours. Tirax turned to the humans, who were watching the departing Nexolid ship with expressions the Vilaxians couldn't quite interpret. Your strategy was unexpectedly effective, Tirax acknowledged. Our tactical simulations didn't consider such an approach. Sometimes the best solutions come from unexpected perspectives, Maya replied. That's something we humans have learned through our chaotic, inefficient development. As the stellar horizon returned to Earth, Tirax found himself reevaluating every assumption the collective had made about pre-FTL civilizations. The humans had demonstrated resourcefulness, courage, and innovative thinking that warranted far more than a footnote in the collector's catalog. Upon reaching Earth orbit, Terax made an unprecedented decision. He invited the human delegation to the command deck for a formal address. In recognition of your species' assistance and unique cognitive attributes, he announced, I am recommending to the collective that Earth be designated a protected world with provisional diplomatic status, a classification normally reserved for far more technologically advanced civilizations. What does that mean exactly? General Rodriguez asked. It means, Terax explained, that while direct technological exchange remains restricted, we will maintain a monitoring presence to deter threats like the Nexalids. And in time, as your species continues to develop, further cooperation may be possible. We appreciate the protection, Maya said carefully, but we hope any future relationship will be built on mutual respect rather than just observation. Terax considered her words. Your species has much to learn, but today you have taught the Vilaxian collective an important lesson as well. Perhaps there is more than one path to the stars. As the humans departed the ship, Terax stood at the viewing portal, watching the blue-green planet rotate slowly below. The collective would need to revise its classification system. Some species, it seemed, compensated for technological limitations with other equally valuable attributes. Set course for Vilaxian space, he ordered, and prepare a comprehensive report. The humans we so casually dismissed may one day become our most valuable allies. The stellar horizon ascended from Earth's gravity well, its quantum engines pulsing with emerald light as it prepared for the journey home. Behind them, a species that had been cataloged as developing and inefficient continued its chaotic, remarkable progress, no longer overlooked, no longer underestimated.